Welcome back to the world of tennis, presented by BNP Paribas.
Lendl McEnroe, Navratilova Evert, Sampras Agassi. These are just some of the tennis rivalries we love. This week, the editors at Tennis Magazine will take a look at these and some more of the greatest tennis rivalries of all time.
The Editors Roundtable is brought to you by Tennis Magazine.
Hi, welcome to another edition of the Tennis Magazine Roundtable. I'm here with David Rosenberg and Stephen Tigner. I'm Peter Bodo. We are at Tennis Magazine and tennis.com. And today we're here to talk about rivalries in tennis. How important are they? Which are the great ones? Pete Sampras once said that the thing that was lacking in men's tennis in that period when the U.S. game was starting to go downhill and people said, what's wrong with tennis? He said the thing tennis really needs is rivalries. That's what he thinks drives the game when the greatest public interest is at the greatest height. I'm going to ask my fellow editors what they think about that.
That's
Steve?
true. I mean, that's definitely true. Look at the men's game now. You have Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, a great rivalry. The men's game, anybody would say, is at its peak in the last 10 or 20 years. And you look at the women's game, and it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the rivalry at the top. It doesn't have that signature battle. And I think people think that that's something that's lacking in women's tennis.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the biggest one right now would be Serena and Venus. And that rivalry hasn't really done anything yet. I mean, it hasn't really been.
That's not a rivalry anyone really loves to see.
Exactly.
Including the players. You know, usually the rivalries they want to get out there and beat each other's skulls in, but in this case it's a little bit different.
Yeah. But you look at all the different eras. They're all defined by rivalries. You had Laver and Rosewall, Borg and McEnroe, Sampras and Agassi, and now Federer and Nadal. Those are the things you remember from those years of tennis more than anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of true. You know, you think back, you look at the great matches that Laver and Rosewall played, the two WCT finals in Dallas. That was one of the high points for tennis. Up until the Billie Jean King Bobby Riggs match, that was the most watched tennis event. And in some ways, it was a more authentic, you know, a confirmation of the game. You know, the Riggs King was a little bit of a sideshow in many ways. They had great social overtones and stuff, but in pure tennis, that Laver-Rosewall match, WCT match in Dallas, really put the game out in the public.
Still the most watched real match, right? 21 million people.
That's exactly right. 21 million people saw that match. It was terrific. But really, you know, when you talk about rivalries, a high watermark, you know, in the open era certainly was set by, we know who, Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova. David, you know quite a bit about that. What were some of the numbers on it? It's pretty astonishing.
I think it was around 43-37 for Navratilova at the end. I mean, and that's sort of an example of the rivalry being bigger than the sum of its parts. I mean, they had many matches, of course, where it probably wasn't that great, or they didn't play that many great matches necessarily, but when it counted, when you look back on it, there maybe were a dozen that everyone can remember.
Well, the emerging theme here is pretty clear. You know, in the present era, in the past 8 or 10 years, it looks like some of these women's rivalries that would have done so much for the women's game, maybe would have been another Chris Martina rivalry, just didn't materialize. Whereas on the men's side, we've produced a couple of rivalries. You had right after Pete and Andre, you've really backed that up with Federer and Nadal. I don't know when there have been two such good rivalries end to end so close together. Well, that's it for another week with Tennis Magazine Editors Roundtable. Please join us at tennis.com and Tennis Magazine for more on these subjects. We'll see you next time.
This Editors Roundtable discussion was brought to you by Tennis Magazine. Get exclusive tennis coverage online at tennis.com.
Big news around the world of tennis this week. Everyone's talking about Serena Williams, her foot surgery. Will it derail her chances of winning the U.S. Open? She's not ready to concede that yet, but she has had to withdraw from 3 tournaments during the Olympus U.S. Open summer. And professional tennis returns to Atlanta. Andy Roddick requests a last-minute wildcard, supplementing an already great field consisting of John Isner, James Blake, and Marty Fish.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned next week for more in-depth coverage of tennis past and present here on The World of Tennis, presented by BNP Paribas.